Hey, it's Chris here today from Huckabones Equipment. Today's video, as you see beside me, I got some SSVs from Kubota. So in today's video, we're going to be doing an overview, or have a conversation first about what an SSV is from Kubota, and then what the key differences are between the 65 and the 75. So stick with us for the conversation. Okay, so what does Kubota bring to this wheeled skid steer lineup whenever you start talking about what we have here beside us? So we have the SSV65 and 75. Kubota came out with them about 8-10 years ago. They followed along with the wheeled skid steers, but on a different platform. So whenever you deal with the tracked ones, whenever they came out with them about 25 years ago, the 75 was revolutionary. It was awesome. It was great. And then these weren't so much. Again, they were jumping into a market that has been well established, and came out with a product that is great. It's fantastic, it's efficient, it's all those things. It's not a whole lot different than any of the other ones out there, other than it's got the Kubota tag there, Kubota engine and hydraulics. At the end of the day, they operate like any of the other ones and do the same sort of job. The salesman in me wants to say that they do it better, but they are a great unit and do a good job at following along with the Kubota product lineup. Whenever I say they came in, they're virtually the same. Well, they have that roll-up door. They've got the same operator's platform in there as the tracked ones. What they did change is how the hydraulics are cooled on the back, and how that fan direction is and everything. And they've actually incorporated that back into the SVL75-3. So they've obviously were doing some work with these and brought them back over took the best of the best and put it into the SVL75. So they've obviously been doing some things right. And so now let's jump to key features and differences are on these two units in particular. So whenever you're dealing with the 65 to a 75, some of the key features you're going to want to know that are different is whenever you start right out front here is the bucket size. So 75, you're going to usually see a 72-inch bucket compared to a 68. Yes, you can interchange whichever way. You might not even have a bucket, it might just be pallet fork, but at the end of the day, usually you're going to have a little bit bigger bucket on the 75 to a 65. So whenever you deal a little bit further back, you're going to be moving to tire sizes. So on the smaller one, you're going to have a 10 by a 16.5, then to a 12 to a 16.5. So just a little bit bigger, a little bit sturdier kind of idea. Again, obviously you're going to be dealing with horsepower as well. So you're going to be 75 to 65. What that all means is your hydraulic flow is going to change. So you're going to get more out of the 75 as well as your lift capacity. So whenever you start talking about your lift capacities, the 75 is going to lift quite a bit more. Bucket breakout force on the 65, it's going to be 4,800 pounds compared to 5,800 on the 75. And with all that, your operator weight is going to go from 6,800 on the 65 and then over 8,000 pounds on the 75. So quite a big differences on all that. Okay, so some of the other things whenever you're dealing with the loader as well, obviously they lift more, is the 75 will have a higher tipping point. If you're filling into the back of a dump truck or whatnot. Your full height difference is going to be about 7 inches from 128 to 121. So again, your 75 to your 65, it's just a little bit bigger, better unit, a little bit more upscale. At the end of the day, it does come at a cost. You will see a price difference between the two. They're both going to deliver for you. Just comes down to if you need to lift more and higher, you're going to go with the 75, and all around use is probably the 65. So as we moved around to the back here, we've already talked about the engine. It's always a Kubota engine, whether it be 65 or 75 horsepower. One of the important features here that Kubota really knocked out of the park is this cooling system up top here. So you'll see it doesn't look like all that special, but it changed how Kubota did it basically. So they had it on one way on the track skid steers, the SVL lineup, and now as they're coming out with the 75-3s and with the new 97s will be, well, they've incorporated how it worked on these into it. So it obviously worked and worked well for how the cooling fan worked on the hydraulics. So pretty special, pretty awesome, and that's why you see development about a Kubota. Sometimes people complain that it's a little bit slower, and is on the slower end, the research and development, but when they do things, they tend to do it right. So, and this is one where obviously the research and development team did everything correctly. And while we're back here, you should always touch on too is how serviceability is for whenever especially when you deal with skid steers. A lot of the competition makes it very difficult to get service in there. Kubota, I think, does a better job at making it easy to do. So, your daily checks, whether it's changing your engine oil filter, everything is there, easy to do, and not taking extra parts off. So it's really nice aspect when you're dealing with skid steers. But as with always, there's one of my drawbacks, and again, as you look up top, whether it be front or rear here, no LEDs. Yeah, it makes you just kind of shake your head and go, why didn't they put them on there? Especially for the expense of these units now. So yeah, it kind of sums up these units. All right, that brings to the end of today's video. Hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about wheeled skid steers, and particularly about the SSVs from Kubota. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, please down below. Thank you.